Hello, everyone. Welcome to the DMV Business Show. I'm your host, Otto Sevilla, and today my special guest is the one and only Jeff Martin. Jeff is the CEO of University Recruiters. He's also earned in 2020 Global CEO Excellence Award and has been named 2020 Yahoo Finance Top CEOs to watch. So you better watch and listen to this episode. Jeff, thank you for coming on, buddy.
Anytime, brother, man. It's good to be here. Good to be here. What's cooking?
Yeah. So as I mentioned offline, I like to start off, from the very beginning. Are you from around the DC, Maryland, Virginia area?
I'm not. I went to school in Towson, Maryland, from New York, and came down to Towson to play lacrosse. Wound up coming to school and saying, forget lacrosse, right? Let me just have fun and be a college kid, which was awesome. And wound up getting my first job in the mortgage banking world, literally right out of college, and never left. And it's all she wrote.
So from New York, are you from the city or where about in New York?
Yeah, right above, 30 minutes above Manhattan.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I guess you call that the suburbs, or is that still
pretty
considered?
much? Yeah.
Okay.
30-minute ride into the city. White Plains is to be exact, and wound up moving from White Plains 30 minutes north of that for high school, and then came down here.
So how were you growing up in New York? What were you into back then?
Oh man, it was great. My kids go to private school now. I'm lucky enough to send them there. But I look back and I'm like, the mix of people and, everything everything. It was insane, right? The mixture, which, sleeping over every nationality's friend's house and, eating their dinner and learning that shit. And I was just like, I hope that these kids get that being at a private school, which they could. But it was a little different and something that I would never change in a million years.
It is different.
Craziness.
Were you a train ride away, or how close was Manhattan or the city if you wanted to come in?
Yeah, quick train ride, half hour.
Okay. Growing up there, would you come down in high school or with your friends, or you pretty much
Not
stayed
much.
there around?
No. Once you're there, right?
Yeah.
So it's like it's in high school. It's not like we were clubbing and shit.
Okay.
We'd rather be at like a house party with all our friends, but we'd go down, I'm talking a handful of times a year for sure.
Sure.
Whether it's just to see the holiday shit or whatever.
So since you came down to Towson, Baltimore for lacrosse, I assume growing up you were big into sports or lacrosse at least?
I was, yeah. Lacrosse was the big one where I grew up. And that's the one I concentrated on and, did every other sport, but not as serious as lacrosse. I look back and say, shit, I wish I played golf, right? Because now it's like my favorite thing to do and I'd be 10 times better.
Yeah.
But I didn't. So all good.
Okay. So you come down here and you go to Towson, you go to the lacrosse team, right?
Yeah.
What are you thinking studying, or what are you majoring then? Have you picked out a major?
Mass communications.
Okay.
With a big emphasis on public speaking and broadcasting.
Okay. So even then you were into public speaking.
Yeah. I tell everybody, I think mass comm is the greatest, unless you're going to go into I want to be an accountant or a doctor. From a standpoint of what degrees CEOs look at, right? And this isn't just my opinion. Mass comm is by far the best one, right? Because communication is the one skill that you kind of can't teach, but you can, right? All the other shit you can learn. And if you can come out, read and write, and speak, right, you're going to have such better chance of doing anything else with that. So every time I see a mass comm major, I love it. I love it.
Okay. Are they easier to place?
No, they're just, depending on what they did in mass comm, they just communicate better. They're smoother. They're better interview.
Yeah.
Right? So they're going to land that job a lot quicker, because if you come out of college to 1 to 4 years out of school, right, it's all the same shit. So it's okay, great. You're selling copiers. How good are you at communicating? or you know what I mean. So
Exactly. So
I love mass comm.
So you graduate Towson and you say you go into the mortgage industry, right?
Went right to literally the day after I graduated.
So are you a mortgage broker, lender, or?
Back now, before I started my firm, I went from originating, and I was a mortgage banker, broker, whatever you want to call it. And from there, I was there for about 13 years, 14 years, halfway through.
Wow, you were there for some time.
Oh yeah, that was my only job. That was my only job. I was loyal, right? There were so many people that would come and go, and they would badmouth the company about everything. And I'm like, who gave, this was a company and all these people that talk shit, right? In the back of my head, I said, man, no one else took a chance on you. But now all of a sudden you hit one hiccup and they suck, right? I hate people like that. I hate it. It's annoying. It's called loyalty, right? So there was a lot of times I could have left, but I was loyal. And every time, and I give this advice to everyone, every time I stayed and I put my blinders on and I did not buy into all the noise and bullshit on the street about all these other places and everyone's making more money, whatever it was, I came out the other end making more money than all those people, right? Moving up the ladder. Because when you hop every month, every year, you don't get roots. You don't grow. You just become a salesperson that job hops.
Yeah.
So every single time, and then it got to the point where halfway in, like 7 years when I knew better, you couldn't even think about selling me to leave, right? So I had a great run there, still a great client of mine, learned almost everything I know from that place. Piece of advice I give to everyone listening, it's called loyalty, right? It's called someone takes a chance on you. You don't run on the first second something doesn't go your way.
I love that. Yeah.
You have to look in the mirror and say, I was a young punk-ass kid from New York who had no background but thought he was the king of the world, right? Like I just wanted, I'm the best, just like everybody. And finally a company said, you know what, we'll train you, we'll hold your hand. And it was the best thing I did. But too many people these days don't know what the word loyalty means.
Yeah. And this firm is always in the Maryland area you stuck through, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Literally across the street, next building over.
Oh, wow. That close.
Yep.
So what made you decide after 14 years with all the loyalty to look elsewhere?
I had 7 years there in staffing. And it got to the point where if you sent me your resume, by the way, my best friend at this company's name was Otto.
Okay.
And he would tell everyone, hey, good news, you could spell it the same front ways and backwards, right? I mean, literally. By the way, when I started there, I was 21. This guy was 50-something.
Oh,
right?
okay.
So I'll give everyone a piece of advice. I saw the number one person who was working 80 hours a week, right? Okay. And I was made from the same cloth, just a little younger. And I took this guy to lunch 4 to 5 days a week, right? And he was the kind of guy that was like, shit, I'll take a free lunch, right? Yeah. Literally 4 to 5 days a week. And all I did was suck the knowledge out of his brain. How are you the best? He was making $500,000 when I got there. How are you doing it? What are you doing? And everyone else was so cocky and thought they were so good that they never seeked out who's the best and said, hey, do you mind if I tag along? Teach me.
Yeah.
Next thing you know, it's me and him, and we're, best friends, right? Okay. Because you outgrow that student and you just become friends and you roll together.
Sure.
And so many people, I know we're getting off topic, but when I saw your name, I was like, man, I miss that guy. He's retired and chilling. I think he drives Uber once in a while when he's bored. Like, literally. He calls his own shots. But, too many people out there don't want to go ask for help. Right? That's the problem. No, yeah. They're too cocky. Fuck that. Excuse my language. I ask for help 20 times a day. I'm not scared to ask. So if you're listening to this, right, find somebody in your industry where you work that's much better than you. And if you look in the mirror and say, oh, there is no one, I'm the best, and you're only 1 to 10 years in, you're full of shit. And that's why you're never going to grow.
Jeff, and this person who is basically double your age, he was also an originator?
That's all he did.
Okay.
Dude, this guy worked so much, right? He would only get up to go to the bathroom. He would get in at 6:30, leave it around midnight, and take 2 to 3 naps a day at his cube, just straight out like an old man sleeping, right? You know, and you see this guy making $500,000, and you're like, if he can do it, I could do it.
Well, let me ask.
But I'm going to find out how he's doing it. And the way you find that out is through food. Hey, man, I'm going to take you to lunch. I don't want to – here's what happens. I don't want to just come in your cube and be like, hey, I'm a 21-year-old punk. I want to be rich. Teach me the ways. No. It's give and get, right?
Yeah.
I'm going to give you some chicken wings. And while you're sucking them down, I'm just going to ask you a zillion questions. And then after a while, the scale tilts to where now we're just going to lunch as friends and we're equals and we're, back and forth.
Yeah. I completely agree. It reminds me, I went to University of Maryland here in College Park, and one of my last internships, which became eventually my full-time job after graduating, was with a commercial real estate company in Tysons and McLean. And one of the main producers there, young guy typically, because the average person in commercial real estate does not look like me. They're 50, 60, white, gray hair. And he was, back then, I think he was in his 30s, making multiple 6 figures. And just like that, I was like, let me take you to coffee. Let me take you to lunch and just pick his brain.
Yeah.
It reminds me, though, all those lunches you paid and everything, what were some key takeaways?
By the way, this is no joke. There was 1 year where my accountant went back, and I think there's in a 2-year span, it was $11,000. Like food and dinner. And let me tell you something, best 11 grand I could ever spend. But what's the question?
I was going to, and this 11 grand was just lunch, you and him, right?
That's it, man.
Okay. For 2 years.
So I throw that number out, not to say, oh, look at the number I spent. When I say just about 5 days a week or so, like for years, that's true, right? I was a 22-year-old, 3, somewhere around there. And I probably did that for 2 to 3 years. Even when I got to the level of I was neck and neck with him. There's still, someone who's lived life and had business. Okay, well, now I'm off of talking about how you're so good there. How'd you get through life? What'd you do, right? I wasn't married or kids back then. Mm-hmm. Give me all the knowledge.
Yeah.
Anyway, too many people are scared or embarrassed to ask for help or, can I pick your brain? And by the way, if all you want is want, and you don't want to give, then that person's going to cut you off, right? It's simple. When you're buying them lunch every day and they're sort of cheap, even though they're making a mill, you got their attention, my friend.
Yeah. My question to you was, during that time frame when you would take them out to lunch, what were some key takeaways that you learned that you can apply in your business back then or even now anyone can use?
Work ethic.
Okay.
Is one. I don't know all these sayings and all that crap, but it's, I'll take a hustler over talent any day of the week. You know what I mean? Like, I don't care if you went to Harvard. I'm going to outwork your ass and make you look like a little kid. And that was the first thing. It was, hey, if you want it, you better put in the time, brother. And what I love about this guy, he didn't hold back. He didn't give a shit, right? And it was straight up. I remember he said, look around. 90% of these people won't be here in a year. Why? Because they'd rather quit than work hard. So if you're going to take me to lunch, you better keep up with me. Don't take me to lunch and come in 3 hours after me and leave 5 hours before me, right? So he said, I'm your guy, but you better keep up with me. Outwork me. Show up before I show up. Dude, there was times where he'd be there till 11 o'clock. I'm like sound asleep at my desk, bored. I just wanted to like punch myself in the face, but I wasn't leaving before him because I wanted him to see, oh, shit, this homeboy is no joke. I'm going to give him all the energy he needs. In my world, if I hire you, right, and it's a little different because of COVID, but when I had 10 people in this office, you would know if you were in the outs when I didn't spend any time with you.
Okay.
right? Like when you come in, if I hire you, I'm giving you, I used to hire people and put them in my office. I didn't care that I had this beautiful office with all these views. I would shove a makeshift desk in the corner and say, my job is to make your ass win because I gave you the promise that I was going to make you win. Your job is to keep up, right? Guess where I got that? Mr. Otto, right? And then I would eventually move you out of my office. So I took away my private space, my personal calls, because I wanted to make sure that you won. And the only way you were going to do that is to keep up with me, right? But getting back to what Otto said, if all of a sudden I didn't see you returning the favor, right? Like when I hire somebody, I say, hey, here's the check boxes that I'm going to give you. 1, 2, 3, 4. Here's what I'm asking for: dedication and hard work. I got 10 boxes to fill. I got to pay you. I got to give you leads. I got to do all that. You have 2. Show up and work hard. Oh, and 3 is smile. Because if you're a grump, you're out. If one of those boxes weren't checked, you stop getting my time, right? Because I'm not going to put in time on someone who I'm asking for 3 things and they can't even check 2 of them.
Yeah.
All right. And that's, again, this is not an age thing. I don't care who you are, right? Everybody, I get thousands of emails a month, thousands, right? On LinkedIn and from Instagram. Literally this weekend alone, no shit, I don't even want to pull it up. On Instagram alone, on DMs, it was like 350 just from Friday and Saturday, right?
Wow.
It was someone posted something, blah, blah, blah. Can you teach me? Can you teach? You know what I mean? And I'm like,
Yeah.
half these people won't execute. So I don't want to waste my time teaching, right?
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter what age you are, where you are in life, right? Find someone that's doing it better than you. By the way, you could be 50 and they could be 30. That's okay. If they're winning, find out why and what they're doing. The only thing I say is if you're not willing to outwork them or stay with them, then don't ask them.
Yeah.
Because if they're grinding, that's part of their secret, right? So I get asked all the time. I have like a marketing brain. I love marketing, right? We actually have a marketing company that we're launching hardcore January, but right now we take clients and we market them so people want to work there. And at the end of the day, forgot where I was going with this, but I get calls all the time about, hey, can you teach me how to market? It looks like you're branding yourself, right? You know, what are you doing? How are you doing it? How'd you get on Gary Vee and Grant and all these celebrities? And the first thing I say is, I am not going to teach you because I know you won't execute. So why waste 30 minutes of my time? Like Gary Vee says all the time, everything that he does, he puts out there for free. Why aren't more people doing it? Because it takes time. And they rather go play fucking video games, right, or watch Netflix than put in the time. Simple as that. I still feel guilty if I leave work before 6 o'clock. I have no one to feel guilty to. Why? Because I understand, right, to stay sharp and stay ahead, I got to outwork everybody.
Jeff, I'm glad you bring up some of these public figures we may have heard of, such as Gary Vee, Grant Cardone, Brian Serhant for $1 Million Listing New York. And you work and are associated with most of these figures. And I'm sure others we probably haven't heard of or not as much in the limelight. How did you build those relationships? How did that come about?
By building my brand. You need to get one big win, right? Like if you can get in front of one person that has influence, you can get into 100, right?
Okay.
Because now all I have to do is send you a message saying, hey, we'd love to chat. Here's a list of people I work with. And all of a sudden they're like, oh shit, I got to get on that list. How's he on that? How is this kid? How's he know all these people? Right?
Yeah.
So you got to break into that one. And that's just persistent and hard work.
Okay.
Right? Gary, I was lucky that someone on his team saw that I was doing video content before LinkedIn even allowed it. And when I mean allow it, they didn't have a platform. I had to put it on YouTube and then upload it. Okay. Everyone thought I was fucking crazy, except the #1 marketer in the world.
Yeah.
Who said, holy cow, I like the balls. I like the guts. Let's chat. And, you know, that turned into a whole bunch, right? And then you get those videos and you repurpose them. And then all of a sudden the next guy calls or next girl calls and says, hey, we're hiring or can I hire, you know, a lot of these people bring me on as a consultant not so much to do the staffing, but also, hey, how do we grow? What do we do? Like, I understand marketing to sell my widget, but how do I market that we're a good place to work? What do these people want? What do the millennials want? What do the older people want? What do the younger people want? Right?
Okay.
And you get one, and here's the other thing. You better kick ass when you get them. Because when Ryan Serhant does a video, I think he did one for me last year, who said, dude, I never met someone like you who actually walks the walk after he talks the talk. I got 50 clients the next day.
Wow.
Because it wasn't me bragging. It was him saying, dude, I've never found a recruiter who actually doesn't talk shit and just gets the job done.
Okay.
Right? And by the way, he doesn't get the job done just by job boards, right? Like, I go out and headhunt. Okay. And you do one good job and you blow one client away, famous or not, right? We're all over the place here, but that's my ADD. You do one thing good. You make one person win to where they've never won before. If I'm a commercial real estate and I give someone exactly what they want and I make it a fun process and I'm fun to work with and I am the interceptor of all the bullshit and I say, listen, this is supposed to be easy for you. I'm going to do it all this. You're going to get 10 more clients just because if these people are making the decision to sign a lease with you, they know a lot of other people.
Yes.
And exactly. I don't think people understand anymore how important referrals and somebody vouching for you is, right? You could sit on LinkedIn. I have not had to, and I don't say this in a cocky way because I'm actually literally posted today that I'm hiring somebody to do this, but up to now, I have not done 1 ounce of business development. I say that, but I'm full of shit. You know what my business development is? Making sure I kick ass on the people I have, and it spreads like wildfire. Okay. Especially in my industry, especially yours, right? I know a lot of commercial realtors. They're lazy, they're just chasing the money. You do one good thing for somebody, it'll come back tenfold.
So you currently don't do any business development at all currently,
Zero.
Right?
Just comes in by like people. It's like, so there's 2 ways. One, it's the word of mouth, right? And my referrals are my favorite because then it's like, hey, so-and-so swears by you guys. Can we use you? Let's talk. Let's see if it makes sense. Just because you're calling me doesn't mean I'm the right fit for you.
Of course.
And the thing that I do is I live by the motto, I'd rather turn you down than let you down. The problem with people these days, they say yes to everything when they know they can't do it. So guess what you just did? The opposite of what I told you to do in the beginning. You just shit the bed, my friend. Yeah. That travels, I forgot what the math is, 10 times faster than when you do good. Right? You do bad, the whole world knows about it. You do good, 10 people know about it. Right?
Yeah.
The good news, those 10 call you. Right? The other spreads like wildfire.
So that's one. You said the referral. You said there was 2. What was the second one?
So as far as how we got business?
Yeah, for the business development side, you were saying.
Referrals, and then, just people seeing me do my thing on LinkedIn.
Okay.
Right? Everyone thought I was crazy. I tell this story all the time. I'd show up to play golf. People, they still do it, right? But now they're like, oh, shit, okay, this guy's doing well. Right. But, in the beginning, what are you doing? What's all these videos? You look like a fool. You look stupid. I remember Gary Vee told me day 1, he goes, people are going to think you're an asshole. Ignore them and keep putting content out. And I do. And by the way, that's the reason why so many people stop, because they're sick of people saying, what are you doing? Their parents, what are all these videos? Why are you doing this? I never stopped. Ever, 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 ever. And because of that, I have this philosophy when I train other recruiters that I may put my content out there. By the way, that's my business development, right? So I don't need to pick up the phone.
Yeah.
And you may see it. You said you've been following me, and you may not need me, not think you need me, don't give a shit about me, but you like my content or you see the content. Well, my job is to put that out there so when you do need me, I'm the guy like, oh, shoot, I'm going to call that guy I follow, right? It's that simple. It's the number one thing I teach when I teach LinkedIn is put the content out there to become the expert And when the person needs the expert, it may not be for 5 years. I have people that have been following me for 6 years that are reaching out saying, hey, I've been following you for a handful of years. We would like to use you. I don't ask, where have you been? The time wasn't right. They didn't need me. They didn't want me. They had another recruiter. But every day they saw my big bald head on their face ranting and raving about something. And they're like, oh, shit. There's something about longevity, someone that doesn't stop. Hey, let's call this guy. And then all of a sudden you see the celebrities I work in. You're like, holy shit. Okay. Then they read articles. Oh, man. Okay. This is the guy.
They see the commitment. Yes.
It's execute. My biggest issue, I have it's not announced yet, but a book. I'm working on a book with a major publisher, and the title's called Bullshit. And it's essentially the top 15 bullshit excuses you have between your ears, right? And one of those, and it ties in, is execution, right? Like, how many YouTube videos do you want to read? How many self-help books do you want to read? How much, or videos do you want to watch? How many calls do you want to make, and mentors? If you're not going to get off your ass and execute, stop wasting your time. Just go take a nap. Seriously, like, if I'm going to get on a call with someone and spend an hour and then not execute, just take a nap. Why waste everyone's time? So it's funny, we're getting into the marketing thing. I get these calls and I do these trainings, and I say, guys, ladies, I'm doing this, right, to be nice, but I know 99% of you won't do any of this because it's hard work and time. Two things no one wants to do. Everyone wants to grab their phone, push a button, and their food is here. Push a button, your ride is here, right? You don't have to work for shit anymore, right? Everything's boom. COVID's made it even worse, right? Everyone just brings it to your window. Like, you don't even have to go in and pay, right? Well, not everything is like that in life, but people think it is. And if you're not willing to put in the hard work and time, then don't complain on why you're not moving up the ladder and you don't have all the good things.
Jeff, I agree with you 100%. There is tremendous power in a brand. And like you said, it gives you that top of the funnel brand awareness that trickles down, that you don't even have to go hunting. You're almost just fishing. The fish is coming to you. What are some examples or things, like you mentioned, when you're talking and giving lessons to some of these guys and gals out there? What are a few things, regardless of what industry you're in, whether you're a recruiter, whatever industry you're in, that people can do to establish that brand presence online?
Content, right? So whatever you do, you're an expert in, right? Or you're going to be an expert in. If I sell window treatments,
okay,
right? I sell blinds for a living. I'm going to be on LinkedIn as the goddamn king of blinds. And guess what? 99% of the people that see my shit are going to say, who the hell cares about window treatments? It's going to happen, right? But I'm going to keep putting it out there. And I'm going to talk about how I'm the pro. And do you know, like, literally, right? And then one day, could be a week, a month, someone's going to call that just bought a big house, and that's how it starts, right?
Okay.
But too many people, the biggest mistake is too many people, and I work with a lot of guys and girls that do what you do, big time, whether it's commercial or residential, Serhant, high level. The biggest thing is that they don't think they have something that other people want to hear. Well, how the hell are you the expert, right? For instance, if I'm a commercial realtor, right, I would be giving a tip. If you're doing 0 tips on LinkedIn now, then maybe you start with 1 or 2, right? Because I'm personally going to say I'd be doing 1 a day, but I know if you're doing nothing, that 5 a week is hard.
Yeah.
So realistically, two quick videos or tips a day talking about shit that I don't know, but you know because you're the expert. But the problem is we all live in our own head, right? And Gary taught me this the first time I met him. He said, you live in your own head, so when you put content out, you want to blow everyone's mind, right? But you're really trying to blow your own mind. The average person that uses LinkedIn, the entry-level basic shit that I have to say blows their mind. But I always want to be up here, right? Okay. So at the end of the day, it's all about, if you're the expert in commercial real estate, Tell me something every single day. Don't worry about who's listening, who's not. Who cares? Put it out there. So when the next person needs a lease, I'm like, I like that kid who's always putting out those tips, right? Don't worry about everyone's chasing likes and comments. I don't give a shit about that. I have 85,000 LinkedIn followers. I don't care if you like or comment on my post at all because I know people are watching it. And that's all that matters, right? So my advice is put out the content. Stop being scared. Stop worrying about what others are going to think. Stop worrying about what your peers think because all it takes is one video to catch viral and it's over.
Yeah.
Right? You're the guy. You're the girl. You're on every fucking podcast. You're on every news. I had one thing go viral 5 years ago and it was whammo, gone, done. Let's roll.
Okay.
Right? But I had 1,000 not go viral.
Let me play devil's advocate here for a second. I agree with you 100%, Jeff. But what if someone says, okay, Jeff, I've been posting a video or two a day or a couple times a week. Nothing, Jeff. Nothing's happening. What now? Majority of the people, like you said, 99.9, first of all, don't even do step one, which is create and post the content.
So you come to me and, hey, I've been doing this for 4 months, 4 days a week. Right?
Okay.
So you want to know what my response is?
Yes.
Awesome. Keep going. This doesn't happen. My brand, it's funny because that's the biggest thing, right? Jeff, I did it for 90 days. That's it? You're fucking crazy, right? It took 3 years for my brand to catch, but I never stopped.
3 years of consistent daily effort.
Day, all effing day.
Posting on LinkedIn, Instagram, everywhere.
I ran out of shit to say.
Yeah.
But I'd wake up and it got so crazy that I hired a video guy to follow me around because it's hard to think of content, but it's easy to live it, right? Yeah. But it could be as easy as just going to your website, pulling some content off, put it on LinkedIn, whatever. It's all the social media. Yeah. So if you come to me and say, hey, it's been 6 months, not one lead, nothing, I'm going to say realistically, let's look at the content you're putting out. Is it professional? Are you portraying yourself? How's the audio? Seriously, all this little shit. But I'm also going to give you one word, patience. Patience.
Yes.
If 2 years go by, I'm still going to give you patience. I'm going to, I don't know what to tell you, right? So we can play devil's advocate. I don't feel bad for you. Because it took me 3 years to get something to pop where all of a sudden I was noticed by the biggest name in the world.
Okay.
Right? 3 fucking years, brother, of being teased, made fun of. What are you doing? You look like a fool. That shit is stupid. Nobody cares.
Oh, man, I love it.
Never stopped. Never fucking thought about it for a second. Never once did I wake up and say, this is embarrassing. Because you get used to it, right? I'm going to tell you, you start walking around with a camera crew, especially in New York City. In New York City, it's actually normal, right? Around Maryland,
yes,
people think you're nuts. What is this loser doing?
Yeah.
Okay. Right? Now, how do you do it, Jeff? Can you help me? No, I can't help you. You know why? Because you won't put in the work I did. And you're going to be the one that calls me in 3 months crying that it's not working.
Long term.
I mean, everything. Look, yes, people can get rich quick. Yes, you can start a company and in a year be a millionaire. But that's not normal. That's not normal. What's normal is hard work, right? Work, and then work some more. And by the way, I'm not one of these guys or people that tell you that if you enjoy your Friday, you're an asshole. I don't hate those people. I just hate that mentality. I get recharge on the weekends, right? But I'm also going to say you have to self-monitor yourself, right? So I look in the mirror, right? I do this when I'm driving and say, did I get done? I know how good I am. Did I leave it all on the field today? Right? My buddy Tom Herb, he has this thing when you've seen us do all these videos, rate your day, grade your day, but grade it in your head. It's for you. Was today an A, or did I suck and was it an F? And if it was an F, how do I fix it? The problem is, you know what everyone says? Oh, today was an A. Right? It's not.
They lie to themselves.
Yeah, so I don't lie to myself.
Yeah.
But I'm also, when I say work, I don't mean don't have fun. I don't mean, you see these people, hey, if you're going to Friday happy hour, you don't want it. Bullshit, right? Bullshit. You can have some fun, but I'm going to tell you what, if Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday you sucked, and then you go to happy hour and you do it consistently,
yeah,
right? Or you're not getting the job done, but by 6 o'clock you're playing video games, then you're not meant for it.
Yeah. Jeff, let me rewind back a little bit where we were left off with your career track. You mentioned you were at the mortgage company for around 14 years or so, right?
Yep.
You started with origination, and when you left 14 years later, were you still in origination or you were at a different role?
No, I halfway in my career, I got into, let me turn this a little bit, get some better lighting. Halfway in, I got into staffing for them.
Okay.
So it became, hey, I'm done originating loans. We're exploding. I think I can do a better job recruiting than any of the recruiters you have here. And that wasn't being cocky. It's because I lived it. I knew what we needed.
Okay.
Right? Like, I could sell it with my eyes closed. And then I did that, and this is what we were talking about. It got to the point where I would meet a guy like Otto, right? It's funny. I literally started saying this, and I said your name and went off to my tangent. I would see a resume of Otto, but Otto either didn't fit or he didn't want to work there.
Okay.
None of those mean you're not a good person or you're not good, right? And after a while, when you're really just hiring one thing over and over again, and you start to throw away, and I don't mean this in a bad way, resumes because they either don't fit or don't want to work there, but they're a good person, you're like, shit, I would love to put him somewhere.
Sure.
So it got to the point where the reason I like agency versus internal is because every day, I mean, not to show you, I still do, I'm still old school. These are all the clients I have to work today, and they're all different. And I love that, right? And that's why, agency means agency versus internal. If I'm internal working for AT&T, I'm only hiring for AT&T. They want this. If you're not in it, you're out. That doesn't mean you're not good. I wanted to start helping those other people. I wanted to be able to grow as a recruiter beyond inside the box.
So did you go to a recruiting agency or did you
I went across the street and opened my own.
Okay. So you basically hang up your shingle and you form your own.
I literally walked across the street.
Okay.
Rented a space for $1,800. No fucking carpet, no desk, no phone, no nothing. Zero. I swear on my life, I got a folding table. No carpets yet, right? I got a discount because there was no, I said, I don't need a build out. I just need a place.
Yeah.
I'm dead serious. I got a folding table, and I got 2 more folding tables for the 2 people I was going to hire. I was able to afford them because I was smart and saved money.
Okay.
Right? It was my own cash. I was paying these people. By the way, you can criticize all your bosses in all the world. As soon as you have payroll, you start to say, oh shit, I probably shouldn't have said that about them, right?
Yeah.
Now all of a sudden it's my family's money that I'm handing out to people. And you want to be hungry, right? You want to see how hard and how deep you can go. Put someone on payroll with your family's money, right? Like it was overdrive, and I loved it, but it was the scariest shit in the world. But I walked across the street, no carpet. We had a door and a lock on it, so no one could take our shit. And we worked, or I should say, I worked, right? Until probably I worked for 3 to 4 years.
What year was it established?
13 or 14.
Okay.
Somewhere around there.
Okay.
So and I'm being dead serious. I worked for 3.5, 4 years before I was able to even sleep through the night knowing that, okay, I think I'm going to be okay. Like I'm talking I'm not bullshitting. I'm like, this is entrepreneur shit, right? Those that want to play in the game, you want to fly in the jets and buy all the good shit, but you're not willing to put the time in, right?
Yeah.
I'm saying I couldn't sleep one night, because every day was a get up, fight the battle of how am I going to do this, right? Establishing my brand. Who am I going to do? Meanwhile, my bank account that I worked so hard to save up, down to zero. So now I blow through savings. I'm at zero. I have payroll to meet. That's where you hear these companies, and every entrepreneur has it, where they go through these tough times. People are going to quit on you because I can't make payroll, right? Like that's the shit that I went through. It was real. I didn't walk across the street and become a millionaire. No chance. Actually, I lost everything when I walked across the street, to the point where I'm like, how am I going to even pay for gifts for my kids at Christmas, right? Maybe not that bad, but like you start bugging out. You have some lean years.
Okay.
Never once fucking pointed a finger at anybody. Never once felt sorry for myself. Never once blamed anybody. Every day I woke up and I got my ass to work. And it's so easy to blame everyone. My clients, why I can't do it. That just wasn't me, right? It wasn't me. And you know, if it's meant to be, it's up to me.
Yeah.
Never once. I go home, pay my people, didn't take a check for a year once. Literally. Never once blamed anyone, felt sorry for you know why I don't feel sorry for myself? Because no one else does. So why would you? Right?
Yeah.
And I knew that what I was doing was different from the rest of the world. So eventually it would pop. And it popped.
So the first 3 to 4 years were hard times. During that 3 to 4 years,
worse than that. Fucking brutal times.
Did anything happen? Was there a catalyst or something? Or even from the get-go, from 2013 or 14 when you found it, did you start with the whole, I'm going to start with the branding, or did that come afterwards?
My second day in my box with no carpet.
Okay.
This is a dead honest truth. Literally, my second day, I knew the company name. That's all. Like I didn't have a website yet.
Right? Why? I'm curious. Why University Recruiters?
That's a good question. I kick myself for that all the time. I've started the Jeffrey agency because at first it was, I'm only going to go after kids fresh out of college, which that's the stigma we have. And we don't do any of that. And then the reason it's still there is the brand is so strong and people see the UR and get it. Yeah. And I'm like, I don't want to deal with the rebranding. Like, it's just not worth it. Jeffrey agency is there. No one cares. Everyone cares. By the way, no one cares about anything. They see this and they know what it is, right? Like I've self-branded out of the company. No one follows companies. They follow people.
It's you.
It's not me, but every company, right?
Yeah.
No one follows your commercial real estate. No one gives a shit about them. They care about you.
Exactly.
And then you bring that to the business. But what was the question?
Well, I asked about University Recruiters, but then I was saying, yeah.
So I go across the street. It was either day 2 or 3. So the question was, did you want to start branding right away?
Yeah, immediately, or did it come afterwards?
On day 2 or 3, by the way, never made $1 yet.
Okay.
Had a company name, no website, no nothing. I finagled my way in front of Justin Tucker's agent from the Ravens.
Okay.
A week later, I'm paying him out of my own pocket to shoot a commercial that we were going to air on Monday Night Football. I didn't have a website yet, but guess what I was doing already? Branding.
Okay.
I was already setting the tone that University Recruiters is about excellence. Here's who we work with, right? That wound up turning into, that was it. Like that shit aired on Monday Night Football for the whole entire year or through the football season.
Sure.
Right away, people were like, I didn't make a sale yet, but I was the king of the world because, oh my God, he has NFL superstars doing his commercials. And by the way, it was a great commercial. Like I wouldn't let something cheesy go out, right? I was like, hey, I'm putting it's branding and marketing. So that answers your question. I spent money on marketing, and I don't necessarily tell anyone to do this, before I even made $1. Before I even had a client, I was paying an NFL superstar real money to help be the face of my company.
That take guts, man.
Oh, some will say stupid guts. Obviously, it worked out, and now we have a relationship. I'm very good friends with his agent, right? So all that you can trace back to, hey, you told me I was stupid there, but now you call me because you want something autographed. I get that every day. Hey, can Justin sign this? Well, 3 years ago, 7 years, you told me I was a dumbass. Now what?
Jeff, knowing what you know now, if you can go back from day one, what advice would you give yourself?
I come up with them daily right now. Look, I'd be honest. I never, if I was thinking about giving up, I would have said, don't give up. But I never thought about it for a second, ever. One of the things that I tell others, I can't really tell myself now, is whatever you're starting, if you think 100 grand's the number to start it, you better have 3 to 4.
Okay.
I'm just being dead serious. If you think it's going to take 10 clients, you better go get 50. Okay. If you think you need 3 employees, you better hire 10, right? Because some are going to be dog shit. Some aren't going to, seriously, right? So whatever you think you need, you're wrong. You're wrong. And the biggest issue that I see when people start their business is they give themselves false realities of what they want to do. And they quit because, I want to open a business. I want to make $1 million my first year, right? Well, halfway through the year, they're not even at 300 grand. So they quit because they're quitting off the bar they set. So realistic expectations, and that goes all the way back to your planning. If you think if you think your runway is 100 grand, you better have 200 because you're going to be at a runway soon. And when you're at a runway, you're out of business.
Yeah. You've accomplished so much in your career and you have a long way to go still. What is it that you're most proud of thus far in everything you've done?
Probably the fact that all my employees are 6-figure earners. To be honest with you, and I've seen my intern, who's now literally running my company, make a shitload of money. And by the way, this isn't a greed thing about money. It's I can take somebody and I say, hey, 7 years ago when I started, I couldn't get someone to make 45 grand. I didn't have it.
Sure.
Now when I say come work for me, right? And again, this isn't a dollar for dollar thing, but it's the fact that I've turned a business into a company people could work for, buy a house, put money in the bank, and make a living while helping me grow my dream, right? So I can give you an answer on the recruiting side, the people I work with, the celebrities, all that shit's cool. But honestly, when it comes down to it, it's your employees that get you there. So if I have to look at one thing, I'm going to say the fact that my employees, I've changed all their lives by when I looked at them and said, come work for me. As long as you can keep up, you're going to have fun and make a shitload of money while helping people. It's all come true. And by the way, I had to go through, I don't want to say a dozen, but at least a dozen that didn't trust me or quit because they couldn't make, and I don't hold grudges on anybody, right? They didn't have patience. And sometimes you can't have patience. Sometimes you got to pay your bills and you got to, there's plenty of people that walked out on me. I wouldn't hire them back, but I don't wish anything bad. I'm still friends with all of them.
Jeff, how has COVID affected your business personally?
Personally, I was in New York twice a week, feeling the hustle and the bustle, right? So we're all isolated. I have really no one in my office.
You're the only one?
What's that?
You're the only one?
Yeah, there's 2 here today, but
okay.
I miss meeting people. I think that's everybody.
Sure.
But as far as my business, 50% of my clients are gone, dead.
Okay.
See ya. And I don't mean out of business, but the last thing they're thinking about is paying me a big fee to hire.
Sure.
I was just very lucky that an industry that is not dead and it's thriving, I grew up in it, right? The mortgage side.
Mm-hmm.
And that has made up for not just did it fill the void for the 50% that are gone, because those will come back.
Sure.
We tripled it this year.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. We tripled it. So when COVID hit, I was scared as shit. And then I realized, wait a minute, the mortgage business is cranking. That's my thing.
Yeah.
That's my thing. That's my go-to. That's where I came from. I doubled down on that, and we're having a great year, right? You just got to hope that lasts until the other stuff comes back, because when this thing does turn, it's going to turn like crazy. Like, and that could be a year or two. I don't know, right? I'm not one of these people that pretend I know. I have no clue.
Sure.
But when it does, everyone who's laid these people off and fired people, they're going to have to hire, and I'll be right there still in business.
You'll be back even stronger because you already have the mortgage.
Stronger.
Yeah.
Yeah, mortgage will go away, right? So and I know that. I know that even when we had the other mortgage stuff, I would tell my guys, yeah, we could celebrate, but this party ain't going to last forever. Nothing does. I've seen that in 3 cycles at my first company. Flying high, knock to your knees. Flying high, knock to your knees. I've seen it twice here, right? And so whenever something's good, I don't sit back and, oh my God, we're killing it.
Yeah.
Hell no. I'm a year ahead of myself. Okay, what's next to maintain when the next thing falls off?
So it ebbs and flows depending on the industry, how your business is then.
Yeah, there's some recruiters that they're just straight up out of business because I was just lucky that I came up in the mortgage space, right?
Yeah.
But if you were the go-to auto fucking guru of supporting companies that sold copiers and things like that, you would have had the greatest run until 6 months ago.
Yeah.
And now you're done. You're done, right? I mean, you're maybe not done, but that business is dead.
Yeah.
You're finished, right? So, I was very fortunate, lucky. Now I've seen the other side of this when I was in the mortgage industry and it was gone. 08, 09, all of a sudden it's like, oh shit, what am I going to do? Right. So I've seen the other side. The only thing those people could do is try to reinvent what they recruit for. And if you're good, look, the cream will always rise. You may get kicked, you may be put down, but if you work hard enough, you'll get back up.
Yeah. I mean, there's agencies that just, like you said, they're just specifically in a certain vertical. So if you recruited just in hospitality
and by the way,
restaurant,
I believe in that. But I will say I believe in that. I always tell everybody, niche, you get rich, right? Don't be that recruiter. This is my number one thing. Don't be that. And I still sort of live by this, right? I'm just lucky that I never gave up on the mortgage side, right? But I always tell people, go in and find 1 or 2 things and be the best at it versus being okay at 50 things, right? The biggest issue that recruiters had, and I still live by this, is they tried to be an expert in every industry. And I always say, hey, recruiters are like pawn stars, right? Not porn stars, pawn stars. Right?
Okay.
And what I mean by that, if you ever watch that, we're like both. If you ever watch that, these guys, you bring something in, they know everything about it. You're like, holy shit, how do these people know? Like, they're like some of the smartest people. They know everything. And I always tell recruiters, be the expert in that business that you know everything. You know what everyone's doing, every move they're making, because when you get on with a client that's in that industry, man, they're going to feel comfortable, right? Because you're the go-to. If I say, oh yeah, like I see it all the time. Oh, we do HR. Oh yeah, no, we do that. Oh yeah, we do warehouse, and it's 3 people, right? Well, then you're an expert in nothing.
Okay.
Right. So those recruiting firms that were doing one thing, they were doing the right thing. They just got screwed. Now they got to find another one thing, right, to be an expert in.
Okay.
Because when times do get tough, right, and maybe not COVID tough, everybody's going to go to the expert who's a mortgage recruiter. I'm going to go to the expert who manages finance sales, right, versus the guy or girl that does everything.
So pre-COVID, Jeff, your company, what were they specializing in specifically?
Mortgage was
Okay. One of them.
half because I never
Okay.
left that. I still
Okay.
wake up and recruit every day in the mortgage space.
So that's always been your bread and butter, basically.
That's always been my thing, what I'm known for. I built this company, blah, blah, blah. And then we were sales.
Okay.
If you called me for IT, I turned three off. I turned three things down yesterday. And you know what I told the guy? I had a call this morning. I told you this. I'd rather turn you down than let you down. I don't know programmers. I don't want to know it.
Yeah.
It's not fun for me. And you know what I tell people? If you're the client, I suggest but we want to use you. We like your videos. And the other thing I do is I help companies brand themselves. So they think they're going to get that, right?
Okay.
But the honest to God truth is, if it's not fun for me and excited, I'm not going to do it good. So I tell Otto, sir, I appreciate that you want to use me. Maybe we can find another way to work together. But I suggest you find another recruiter who's an expert in it, because I'm not.
Okay.
Let me tell you, the amount of respect you get when I told a guy yesterday, no, it was a lady who was looking for dump truck drivers and and project managers. And I said, listen, and she saw me on social media. And I said, unfortunately, I can't help you. That's not my thing. Well, I'm pretty sure you can figure it out. Yeah, but go find an expert. Seriously. Because I don't, but the average recruiter, you know what they say? Oh, yeah, I could do that. Not me. If I can't fill it, I don't want the job.
Now, were you like that from the beginning, 2013, 14?
Day one.
So you would turn business down because if I
didn't know about it, like, if I didn't know about it, right? Now there's things that I've taken on because I'm like, oh, I could do that. And I go figure it out on my own.
Sure.
Right. Like the Pawn Star, right? I'm like, I'm going to do my research. I'm going to figure out. So you can give me anything. I'll do it. I'll figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
But if I'm not excited and passionate about that industry, I'm not your guy. I'm just not. Find someone that lives and breathes that, because you're going to get a much better person, much better candidate, much better experience. So people are shocked when they call me, and I refer business out. When I turn business down, they think I'm nuts. And I'm like, you know what? You know what's crazy? Telling you I can do it, because then it puts pressure on me, and I'm busy enough.
Yeah.
And then you're mad at me. Right? I told the guy today, which is in my industry, but I said, listen, if it's not meant to be, it's not meant to be. I'd rather be friends and have a good relationship than me tell you I'm going to do it. I don't get it done. I think you're an ass because you didn't hire my people. Well, really, I didn't know what I was looking for. You think I stink. And then we're back to, why are we even talking?
Yeah.
Right? I'd rather protect my name and say, hey, man, I don't do this. Isn't what I live. And by the way, I tell everyone to do this, recruiting or not. The respect you get is so much more than if you tried and failed. Because there's nothing wrong with failing in life, but there is something wrong when you fail for a client. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Even though you may look and say, oh, wow, I failed, but I learned shit. What they're saying is, man, that kid sucks. Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I tell everybody, the same thing, recruiter or not.
What would you say is your biggest challenge right now in your role for your company?
Wearing too many hats.
Okay.
And everyone tells me to hire people to do stuff. And I'm like, no, I'm not. No one can, everyone thinks no one. And by the way, I know I'm wrong with this, right? I do the marketing, and I talk to my marketing people, which I love. And then I get on the phone and recruit, and I go out and source. Well, why don't you hire a sourcer? And I say, because they can't do it as good as me, right? Like, that's the problem we all have.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you, I know that's an issue,
okay.
right? All entrepreneurs are like, dude, no one can do it like me. So why would I let someone touch my shit? The problem is you can't grow like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
This is the first year I hired 3 people underneath me just to help with my book of business and the mortgage side.
Okay.
That was tough, because that's my baby. They're killing it.
Okay.
Right. And now I sit back, I'm like, God damn it, why didn't I do this 2 years ago? Right.
Yeah.
So that's my biggest issue is I'm in growth mode, but I'm stumping my growth because I want to keep doing everything.
So what does the next 5 year look for you in the company? Is it just more growth mode or what?
Yeah, we have this marketing arm that we've been keeping quiet. The biggest thing is this. Look, I got no problem with you wanting to pay me, right? But I'm also a good enough partner that I tell Otto the truth. Say, listen, I want to help you. I want to make millions with you. No doubt. But long term, right? No recruiting company's doing this. Actually, there's one, my buddy Joe Mullins. And we came up kind of sort of together through the same people and influence, right? He's the guy who puts videos. Anyway, he gets it. But one of the things that I tell people is, hey, listen, I want to take your money to the bank every day, all day. But you're not going to become better as a company. So while I'm recruiting for you, let me help brand you from a hiring standpoint, not the widget you sell, why you're the best place to work. Well, how do you do that? It's easy. We have the social media. We have experts that this is what they do. We also have the ability to get clients on the front page of any major news website because of my relationships, right? So, that's something where next year, I literally put out today that I'm hiring 2 people to run this division. And it's going to be a digital agency, which we already have, and it's proven, for companies to brand themselves as the best place to work. So you don't have to hire people like me to go out. It's a lot easier for a resume to come in and people to be lined up around your building because they want to work there than pay me 6 figures to go out and find your people. Because if that side works, the marketing side, they're never going to stop paying me there. And it's a lot easier than the side I'm on now. So I'm 2 years ahead of myself on how do I replace myself right now, right? Okay. Because I'm always going to find the new company that needs to start on the bottom. They need to bring me in to hire. And then I wean them off. Well, what's your budget? Why don't we put something in place so you don't need me? Go find another one. Boom, boom. Once I take them from here and pass them off, the fee over here on the marketing side is a fraction.
It is.
Of what the recruiting side is.
Much smaller.
It's almost free to them. They don't even notice it, but they never go away. Okay. So I'll take $3,000 a month over $20,000 a month forever versus 1 year, right? Too many people are tripping over pennies to make dollars. Like, I'll take you, park you here. I'm going to get enough people on the digital side where now you have 1,000 people paying $2,000 a month, but you don't do anything. Nurture them here, put them over here. Yeah. It's going to be fucking insane. No one's doing it. Nobody. Again, I don't want to do your marketing for your company, what you sell. I want to help people understand that you're the best place to work so the resumes come in. And if I can give you that, you'll never stop.
No one's going to do it too, Jeff, because you're shooting yourself on the foot on the recruitment side, like you said.
Yeah, I mean,
but long term, but because they're just seeing the short-term picture, but you're seeing long-term.
I want long-term.
Yeah.
I want to be able to help you, all that, right? And then we have the thing I'm working with Bradley and his team. Haven't totally started because COVID killed me, and I didn't want to, or I shouldn't say that. COVID killed the idea. Sure. But I'm very big in LinkedIn, right? Yes. And I think there's no one better to teach you than someone who's made millions using it. Yes. Right? And that's a lot of people can say that, right? So we're putting together a real LinkedIn, like a professional LinkedIn platform that you go to and you learn how to use it versus calling me and me doing these webinars, right? Interactive. So then I can give it to a company that has 100 salespeople, right? And say, listen, with COVID, knocking on doors is over, right? Yeah. Every time you hire someone, right, it's $400 a month. You can have 100 users on it, right? Have them the second day take my LinkedIn course so they understand the new way of finding. I'm not teaching you how to sell. I'm teaching you how to get in front of the Otto to sell what you have. Okay. Again, let's say that's $500 a month and it's unlimited. They go here, they pay forever, they never stop, and that just keeps adding up. Okay. And you're doing that too next year, you said, with Bradley?
He's out of Vegas, right? Is it lightning speed or?
Yeah. So
yeah.
you've seen him on my thing. The best at what he does.
Yeah.
We've talked about it a lot. I love his team. The issue I had was in order to do it, you have to fly out there. You don't necessarily have to, but if you want to do it right, you have to fly out there and spend 3 days shooting footage in, the training.
Sure.
I wasn't getting on a plane anytime soon.
Okay.
So now we're starting to get those talks back up. But that'll be something else that falls under the recruiting umbrella that, hey, listen, we can just do your staffing, but we can also help you with LinkedIn training. How to make your people better when you hire them. No one's doing that. Oh, and by the way, we can brand you. Which avenue do you want, or do you want all three? Just give me, I'll take a piece. You don't always need the whole pie, brother.
Yeah.
Give me a little piece.
Jeff, with the branding and marketing that you want to start, you said, I think January, right?
It started.
Okay.
But we're just not opening it up. If I open it up today, we'll bury ourselves because I'll have 100 companies in a day saying, sign me up.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I got to put things in place.
Sure.
Again, I don't want to let you down. So we have 40 clients using it now.
Okay.
Right. And some aren't even clients on the recruiting side. Right.
Okay.
We generate resumes on Facebook.
Okay.
That's where your people are. They're not always on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
How do you do that? Let us show you how.
Okay.
Let us run it for you, right? Digital agencies do this all the time. They just don't do it for hiring. So that'll kick off for the entire country. Doesn't matter who you are, where you are, we'll take you on. Right now, we really only want to work with our clients because it's a special, right? At that point, you'll be a client of the marketing side, maybe not using me to do your staffing.
Are you doing that all in-house as far as?
All in-house.
Okay.
We may outsource to guys. I actually call them in-house, but they're not. That typically we send so much stuff to, like if
freelancers.
If you want to build a website, I got a guy who's building my 5th website right now. Right. He's my guy, and I would send you there. Right. But as far as everything else, it'll be in-house.
Okay. That's great.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I'm excited because it's fun.
Yeah, you're stepping your toes in a lot of different niches now.
I want to have them all spinning in case something shits out on you.
Sure.
Okay, I got others spinning. While these are spin, how do I get a third wheel spinning? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I love that. Jeff, last question. In your free time, what do you like to do for fun?
Golf.
Be on the golf course.
Be on the golf course. Love it. I don't have much free time, but I'm not one of these assholes. Oh, I don't have time to play. Like, the number one excuse that I have in my book is people say they don't have time. If you like something, you'll make time. Yeah. And let me tell you, I make time. I get enough in.
Yeah.
Oh, but you work so much. Yeah, but I love it. I'll find time. Right? Hanging out with my kids. I'll find time. I'll figure it out.
Yeah.
So that's my passion. Just flew back from Naples the other day. Played some of the greatest courses, and it's one of those things where I leave my phone in the car most of the time. You're with your friends, right? You're being challenged to move this fucking little white ball down the, which is almost impossible for me lately. And you're with nature, and it's my way. I remember when I was going through those 4 years that I couldn't sleep, I had to go see someone because I'm like, dude, I kept losing my vision because of stress, right? Okay. And they're like, oh, it's your brain, triggers, and we got to figure out a way to stop it. The only way for me to finish out how to stop it was to make money and get my company going. Boom, they went away. But one of the things that this lady said was, what do you love to do that makes you just chill? And I was like, golf. She goes, then you need to play more of it. I said, can I get a letter saying that? But it's not just the sport, it's everything else that comes with it, right? Some people like to meditate. Like I like to be out there where no one can bother me. You can't email me. You can't call me. I'm not going to do an interview. And I'm going to, I'm still a guy that was an athlete who has that tick in him that, okay, this is my time to try to conquer something, right? Yeah. So it's my true passion. I fucking love it.
All right. That's great. Jeff, thank you so much for coming on. Where can people find you if they want to reach out? I know you're already getting bombarded through LinkedIn, Instagram, and everything, but if they wanted to reach out or check out your...
Yeah, just jeff@universityrecruiters.com.
Okay.
Simple as that. I'll get back to you. That's the crazy thing. I still get back to everybody. I have a team now that handles my social media.
Okay.
But they'll let me know, hey, this guy's emailed you, she's emailed you. We got to get back to her, and I'll get back to you. I may not be the next hour, but I'll get back to you.
Sure.
I got back to you pretty quick.
You did. Yeah.
So
you did.
Not
All
everyone's
right.
going to get the answer they want, but I'll get back to you.
Jeff, thank you so much again, buddy. I appreciate
You got
it.
it, brother. Keep kicking ass, man.
All right.
Later,
Thank
bro.
you. You too. Take
Bye-bye.
care.